The spaceport canteen was the kind of place that smelled like every species that ever walked through it. Metal tables lined the floor, each with worn edges from claws, hands, and tentacles. The hiss of steam, the chatter of translators, and the low thrum of the orbital station above Gliese 942b filled the air. Private Evan Rourke slouched at the counter, stirring his grey soup. It wasn't really food, just recycled protein paste mixed with something that might once have been fish. He'd been stationed on this mining outpost for 3 years, long enough to stop caring about the smell or the aliens who outnumbered humans 50-1. The tension between species was unspoken but real. Humans worked the refineries, hauling metal and ore for credits. The track, the dominant species on Gliese 942b, oversaw it all, predators with sleek scales and amber eyes. Most of them looked down on humans as barely evolved animals, tolerated only because Earth had something they wanted, manpower and desperation. That day, Evan was in a foul mood. A power coil had failed in his sector, his pay was delayed, and his supervisor, another track, had called him soft-bodied vermin. So when a small shadow padded up beside him at the counter, Evan barely noticed. It was a track cub half Evan's height, its scales still pale with youth. The cub's eyes were wide and curious as it pointed at the steaming food tray in front of him. Human food, it chirped, its translator collar humming faintly. Smells strange. Evan smirked. Yeah, well, we don't all eat raw meat and stardust. The cub's frills fluttered in what might have been amusement. May I taste? Evan snorted. Sure, if you want your tongue to die. But when the cub reached toward the tray, one of the other humans at the counter, Derek Miles, a burly worker with a foul temper, grabbed his wrist. Hey, lizard brat, Derek growled. You think you can just touch human food? You people think you own this station. The cub blinked, confused. I did not mean. Get lost, Derek snapped, and before anyone could react, he spit into the tray, a glob of saliva landing right in the middle of the cub's outstretched claw. The canteen went silent. Every alien turned. The hiss of steam stopped. Even the ambient hum seemed to fade. The cub looked at Derek's face, then down at the food. Slowly, it wiped the saliva with its hand and stared at the human again. And then it smiled. The expression was wrong on a track's face. Predatory. Ancient. A silent declaration of ownership. Perfect, the cub said softly. You're the main course now. Part 1. The Aftermath. Security broke it up in minutes. Derek laughed it off, calling the cub a spoiled alien baby, but Evan noticed the look on the station guards' faces. They were afraid. Not of Derek. Of the cub. The incident spread fast. The next day, the cub's family didn't show up for their usual market visits. Then 2 of Derek's crew disappeared from the maintenance tunnels. They weren't reported missing until the 3rd day, when their suits were found empty. No blood, no bodies. Just shredded fabric. Evan tried to convince himself it was a coincidence. Mining accidents happened all the time in deep space. But when Derek stopped showing up to work, and his ID chip pinged from the same tunnels, Evan's unease turned to dread. He decided to report it. The station's head of liaison, Commander Cale, was a track older, armored, with dark scales that shimmered like obsidian. When Evan told him about the cub's words, Cale's eyes narrowed. You say it smiled at him? Cale asked. Yes, sir. And said he was the main course. Evan nodded, hesitant. It didn't sound like a joke. Cale leaned forward. Human, do you know what that means in our tongue? Evan frowned. I assumed it meant food. Cale's frills flared. Not food. Bond. It claimed him. You do not insult a track and walk away unbound. Evan's stomach dropped. Unbound. Cale's voice darkened. A cub's challenge ritual. An ancient instinct we thought long extinguished. When provoked, the young mark their offenders not to kill them, but to hunt them. To own them. That's insane, Evan whispered. He's just a kid. Children of the track are not like yours, Cale said. When they awaken that hunger, they cannot stop. Until the bond is fulfilled one way or another. Evan left the office shaken. The words echoed in his head all night. You're the main course now. Part 2, The Disappearances. By the fourth day, rumors spread across the colony. Workers whispered about claw marks in the ventilation shafts, heat signatures moving through sealed corridors. Some claimed they'd seen glowing amber eyes watching from the dark. Evan started sleeping with a plasma cutter beside his bunk. He didn't believe in monsters, but he'd seen what track adults could do. If their cubs were half as deadly. That night, a metallic clang woke him. He froze. Something was moving in the vents above his quarters. Then, whispering. Wet, guttural, almost rhythmic. He grabbed the cutter and stepped into the corridor. The lights flickered, casting long shadows across the floor. A cold breeze brushed the back of his neck. He turned, too late. A small shape dropped from the ceiling with unnatural grace. It was the cub, but different. Its scales glowed faintly blue, and its eyes shimmered like molten gold. Evan stumbled back, heart pounding. What do you want? The cub tilted its head, claws tapping the metal. You smell like him, it said softly. Who? The one who spat. Derek. He's gone. The cub's smile widened, exposing tiny, razor teeth. Yes. Gone into me. Evan's stomach turned. You killed him? Killed, the cub echoed. No. We are one. His fear became my flesh. His defiance, my strength. It stepped closer. Now I finish the bond. You witnessed it, you carry it too. Evan fired the plasma cutter. A searing beam of blue light struck the cub, but it simply stepped through it, unharmed. The air crackled. Reality itself seemed to warp around the creature. Evan ran. Part 3, The Hunt. He fled through maintenance corridors, hearing claws scrape against metal behind him. Alarms blared. He hit the emergency channel on his wristcom. This is Rourke. Section 9, Hostile Track Juvenile. It's static. Then a voice, Cale's. Hold your position. Do not engage. We're sending containment. But Evan didn't wait. He darted into a cargo bay and sealed the doors, panting. Through the window, he saw the cub approach, calm and deliberate. It placed a hand against the glass. The metal rippled like water. Why run? It asked, voice soft. You were kind. You defended me. Evan's breath hitched. I didn't do it for you. I just didn't want to fight. And yet you run from me, it murmured. Do you fear me? Yes, Evan said honestly. Good, the cub whispered. Fear means life. The humans forget that. It pressed its claws to the glass again, and a blue flame spread outward. The metal began to melt. Evan stumbled back, desperate. Why me? Because you understand, the cub said. You see beyond the insult. You know hunger. Loneliness. Its eyes softened. And I am lonely too. Then, before the doors could collapse, a blast echoed through the corridor. A containment squad of track soldiers stormed in, firing pulse rifles. The cub screamed, not in pain, but in anger. The air shook. Gravity faltered. The soldiers were thrown like rag dolls as the cub's aura expanded outward. Cale entered, roaring commands. He held a shimmering sphere, something ancient. With a guttural chant, he hurled it at the cub.